segment now with Freddie Clayton.
The book of Proverbs is a valuable treasure of useful information that is as up to date as when it was written 3,000 years ago. These Proverbs have the power to change people's lives for the good even today. The only barrier is a failure on our part to properly regard and apply their wisdom. However, sometimes we might miss the teaching because some of the Proverbs can be obscured due to the very amusing comparisons that are used. Take, for example, Proverbs chapter 11 at verse 22. As a ring of gold in a swine's snout, so is a lovely woman who lacks discretion. From passages like Genesis chapter 24:47 and Isaiah 3:21 for starters, it is obvious that in the Old Testament times, jewels were often suspended from the nose and rings inserted through the nose. Yes, when Isaac first laid eyes on Rebekah, a lady with whom he would have twin boys, Jacob and Esau, she had a ring in her nose. Well, what about a pig thus adorned with a golden ring in his snout? Just how enticing is that? Well, except maybe to another pig, I doubt it would have much impact on anybody that you know or I know. So listen to Solomon as he says that the jewelry-enhanced hog is no less disgusting than this particular woman described. I've oftentimes heard it said, clothes make a man. Now the fellow, of course, that was telling me that was trying to sell me clothes. If you listen to advertisers, do they not want us to believe that and often buy into the notion that jewelry makes the woman? Well, if it does it make a hog too? This Proverbs point is clear. What is physical beauty if the woman that is supposedly beautiful has no discretion? Is physical beauty all that counts? Certainly not. Note Solomon as he says, a beautiful woman lacking discretion, which means maturity, prudence, and modesty, is like a fine gold ring in a pig's snout. But why is that the case? I can think of at least a couple of reasons. Number one, it's a contradiction. Think about it. A gold ring and a pig's snout. Something's wrong with this picture. Absolutely there is, but no more so than a physically attractive woman who is socially and, more importantly, spiritually ugly. Described here is one who ought to understand the responsibilities that go along with being blessed with physical beauty. Shameless and rude conduct is a contradiction to the blessing. Character counts, and it should be looked upon as counting more than mere physical beauty. The worthy woman of the same book of Proverbs, chapter 31, verse 30, gives us the facts of the case. Charm is deceitful, and beauty is passing. But a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Physical beauty is a subjective thing anyhow, but respect and reverence for God is objectively necessary. Secondly, it's a waste. As Jesus warned in Matthew chapter 7 at verse 6, do not give what is holy to the dogs, nor cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. A hog doesn't know the value of a golden ring. Sadly, the woman here described does not possess good understanding, good judgment, and as a direct result of that, good behavior. Therefore, her beauty is a waste. When she opens her mouth or conducts herself in an ungodly manner, no amount of physical beauty can make up for it. You and I well know that the world may give her a break or even dozens of chances due to her physical beauty, but that should never be the basis upon which we decide matters. Have you ever heard it said, she can get away with it because of her looks? Now that was not invented without multitudes of examples of that very thing happening. She may very well get by with it here, but not eternally. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man sows, that will he also reap. For he who sows to his flesh will of the flesh reap corruption, but he who sows to the Spirit will of the Spirit reap life everlasting. Galatians chapter 6, verse 7 and 8. What is the reason for rings in the snouts of pigs anyhow? I found that out one Saturday morning at my great friend Randy Johnson's house nearly 50 years ago. Randy and I flipped and held the pigs down while his dad put multiple rings in their snouts. It is to keep them from rooting out of their pens, the barns, etc. So the nose rings are used to hinder the swine from doing mischief. Maybe there is another point about this particular proverb that we may have to tackle in a future episode. This is Freddie Clayton, walking and talking through Proverbs.